The governors are coming online. Saturnian energies. The grind. Contrasts divide the friction of relation. Dominion of spirit. Balance of power in your overreach. And the expression of your value in your underreach. What do you underreach for? So governor energies, realization, constriction of isness in your being. So you're fixing on definition, the spirit in form. Now I've been blessed by many things and with many people, many perspectives. I've always respected people. Respect was there to lose, and I never looked at it like that, because who am I? But there's just a sometimes I feel all time it's better to learn how to think than what to think. When you're young, you're usually faced with one or two modes of truth handed to you, forced into you. Happens during the early imprints. If you are blessed by the curse, you'll have 3 or more. Now, I didn't research any of this, I don't know. It's just coming to me. If you have 3 or more, then you're unable to hold the value of what is true, because there are too many truths that contradict. So you naturally relate with how to think. How is it true, not what is true. It puts you at a disadvantage in the 3D world, unless you are a good actor and you enjoy that kind of thing. But the governor's coming online. This shows you what I mean. People will fall into the safe havens of tradition, of the Capricornian structures, the belief structures, the science, the religion, the movement, the belief, philosophies, the feudalistic expressions in life, which is how diversity becomes unity. Now, when we become very isolated, individuated into ourselves, we're much easier to manage, actually. And I'm speaking generally. Once someone has taken on the belief structure of what they've been given out there, and then they're isolated, that seed grows and it seeks connection, resonance, union with something greater. And so then once people are isolated and starved of true meaning and given the icon, and then when they're released back into nature, or what they feel is nature, they are trained to external icon there, and trained to the what, to think, reinforced. How becomes blasphemy, heretical, witch trial level stuff because it's voodoo if you're thinking. You have doubts if you don't believe. I know people that have these strong feelings. Close people. The governor is on. Their mind can only comprehend, can only translate the depth of what they've been able to get within themselves. So they've handed the meaning to the icon, the religion, the belief system. How to think is a deviation from what? So you're out of the truth if you question. It's a perplexing sadness to me. But it just goes to reinforce what I already knew, is you will only ever meet the world as deeply as you meet yourself. And whatever cycle in season in relation to this place you are deluded through the illusion of, that's your role, your energy, your place to play, your layer of the abyss. So while I love, I will never sacrifice for that. So it's an isolation. This is part of the individuation. We're all individuating, but we're individuating into the resonance of the pole which governs us. And I feel, if you are in your natural, harmonious expression of existence, you feel your pole and you go towards it and you break away from hive-minded bullshit, the propaganda of changing times. And I mean, if that's your resonance, then you are blessed. Make the most of it, but it's not what I'm tuned into. It's the pulse of life. Some of us, our pulse, it's tuned to a rhythm out of rhyme. There's no space and time yet for the expression. So it keeps you from suffering the fate of the death of your absolution by never knowing absolution. So you realize power is in becoming and not being. But you can't choose how to express that. It chooses naturally. In this world, there's no place for that, at least at this time. So in one way, that's how I know it's a truth. The unknown always holds truth, just as it holds falsehood. And it is up to you, the receiver, to heal yourself so you're not sickening your view, your perspective. Think about it. Optimism and pessimism. An optimist lives longer. The world is a governor, in a way. We've turned it into that by breaking away from full sensory being to mental regurgitation. The mind is only for application of what can be conceived. It should not be your point. It should not run point. It's blinded by what it thinks it knows. So putting the heart on point is the most vulnerable. It seems like leading your army with, I don't know, with the most precious energy. So the application of your experience is divine wisdom. It's grace. How do you get into your state of grace in order to feel what that is and tap into that energy, bring that into your psychic awareness so the world can bring it to you in relation? Rather than more of the programming which reinforces status quo narration, consensus reality, governance. There's nothing to know here. It's not what you know, it's how you know. Learn how to know. Let's look at the chart real quick. Now that I'm off my high horse here, I can come back to the world of unknowing. Alright, so the moon, 19 degrees Libra. This is a good time in the moon cycle, generally speaking. It's the transformation of the end, really. All horizon can be seen as the sun begins to set. You start to omit the details of the periphery. The sun starts to bring the darkness over into the it allows the darkness in so you can understand the nature of the contrast. Knowing all the potentials and all of the statics are on the periphery. Statics being things we've already discovered and feel we understand. But what we know, society, it's like bark on a tree, It just layers and layers and layers, and the new stuff keeps growing. Sometimes it's diseased, but sometimes it just seems diseased. It's really just out of resonance, or you are. You can't feel connected to it unless you compromise. So in this time of governance, compromisation, let's talk Pluto energies here. Through the cipher of Mercury and Saturn. For the moon, for the emotions, recalibrating the known with the unknown. Okay. So think of the seasonalogical progression of Virgo to Libra. You used all your magic in the lands to bust your ass to get all the harvest in, to get all the food in, to prepare it perfectly, to organize it, to inventory it, to understand how best to utilize it. Not just where it came from, how it happened, but what it's for and how to present that to balance, to reason in the high court of Libra here, where existence itself takes in all the other determining factors and places it in front of you. And your ego or your persona is always on trial in these experiences because your psyche keeps growing, and if you haven't stretched the psyche enough, the persona won't change. And this is the Pisces to Libra thing. The work of Libra is in that process, and the transformation of Pisces is through that awareness. So the moon is giving us that working in conjunction with Saturn. And Saturn is working, it's in conjunction with Mercury. So we've got this yod here right now with Saturn, Mercury, and the moon. That must be the reason I wanted to speak. All right. Transformation of your process in awareness. I just spoke a lot about what you think, so how do you sacrifice that willingly, knowing it's going to change anyway? So how do you optimize the process while grow in relation to the things out of your control as much as the ones within your control? If you think about action items or steps that you would need to take, I would first just look at what's the unifying energy and just forget the process and think of the energy underlying this, the value of your passion, the language of your passion. What speaks to you in the world? What speaks to your authentic spirit? What charges you? What do you feel value in? How do you feel your own unique power, value in relation to this world and to others? Is that part of programming, or is it just part of your process, your procession, your progression? How has that changed through time? If truth was just in living your most authentic life, how would you do that? How can you burn in that way? You may still have the job, the career, the family, the whatever, but this is about the spiritual understanding. You're burning through the shadow of belief. So it's a more refined fire. You're tempering the harshness of reality and the governance of others in relation to the tradition, to the expectation, to the obligations, your duties, and the shadows of what you had believed them to be, which may not have been just, fair, but you learned either way. So knowing that you are the one that honors yourself, and it's not just in mental affirmations and all that kind of stuff. It's about the way you live, how you treat yourself, the value of your authentic expression. Key into what that could be for you, if only for a moment. That could help catalyze, we talk about neural pathways, but just take that concept into all sensory, dimensional ideas, like spiritually, consciously, psychically. Pathways, experience open up pathways, emotions flow, feelings rise. It's new spirit being born. Or strengthening old conviction, old spirit. A lot of times trees get cut, absolutions die, but in that process, many things grow, are reborn. All right, well, I guess that's all I wanted to say. So thanks for watching, listening, and being.